Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive paradox that's sitting right at the center of the current AI boom. Just think about it for a second. Right now, literally billions of dollars are being poured into AI development. We're seeing astronomical valuations, and honestly, mind-bending breakthroughs are happening almost daily. Yet, despite all of that, an astonishingly high percentage of these enterprise AI projects, they never actually make it into production. There's this quiet realization sweeping through the business world: having the absolute best technology doesn't automatically guarantee you any kind of success. There is a critical missing link here. So today, we're going to look closely at the unique role that is stepping in to solve this billion-dollar problem.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are living in an era where new AI models are dropping at breakneck speed. Their capabilities are awe-inspiring, and capital is flooding the sector at truly unprecedented levels. But, organizations are quickly discovering a very painful lesson. Bridging the gap between buying cool tech and actually seeing a real return on investment, your ROI, is incredibly difficult. It's kind of like buying a high-performance Ferrari for your company, but then realizing nobody on your staff actually knows how to drive a manual transmission. Oh, and your office is located at the end of a dirt road. The capability is there, sure, but the operational reality prevents you from getting anywhere. So how do you actually turn that incredible potential into a measurable business outcome?
Section 1. The AI outcome problem. To really unpack this execution gap, we've got to face a hard truth about the industry right now. Building an advanced AI model is a staggering feat of software engineering, absolutely, but it's fundamentally just one piece of the puzzle. Integrating that pristine, perfectly logical AI into a messy, real-world business process, well, that is something entirely different. Real-world workflows aren't perfectly structured code. They look more like deeply nested spreadsheets from 2003, fragmented communication across 5 different messaging apps, and stubborn legacy systems that simply refuse to talk to each other. Organizations are realizing that raw technical capability doesn't automatically equal immediate business improvement. You can have the smartest model in the world, but if it doesn't intuitively fit into the daily chaotic workflow of your team, it is virtually useless.
Section 2. What is an FDE? So, the crucial point is, to bridge this massive gap between potential and reality, a highly specific role has emerged as the ultimate solution. A forward-deployed engineer, or FDE, is a technical professional who works directly with customers to ensure technology actually delivers business value. But I want you to think of this as far more than just a job title. It's a completely different philosophy of engineering. For an FDE, the job isn't done when the code compiles without errors. No way. Their job is only done when the business sees a tangible, measurable result on their balance sheet or a real boost in operational efficiency.
Let's contrast this to make the distinction crystal clear. A traditional engineer's primary focus is building products, right? Creating the software, optimizing the back-end code, pushing out slick new features. Think of the traditional engineer as a brilliant architect who designs a breathtaking blueprint. An FDE, on the other hand, operates uniquely right at the intersection of technology, business, and operations. Their primary focus is creating outcomes. They're the master builders out there on the muddy construction site, dealing with bad weather and supply shortages, making absolutely sure the building doesn't collapse. They take the product that the traditional engineers built, carry it across the finish line directly into the customer's organization, and ensure it actually solves the messy problem it was hired to solve. In practice, this is a demanding, highly operational process. They don't just sit behind a screen all day. First, they deeply study the quirks of a customer's workflow. Next, they pinpoint the exact business inefficiencies dragging the company down. Then, they design highly practical custom solutions. And finally, and this is the hardest part, they implement those changes and fight tooth and nail to ensure the organization actually adopts them. It's grueling work. It requires them to understand human habits and corporate politics just as well as they understand Python or API integrations. Fighting for adoption often means acting part engineer, part diplomat, and part therapist for teams that are completely resistant to change. They do the heavy lifting so the software creates real-world outcomes.
Section 3. The evolution of accountability.
The underlying idea of embedding technical experts has existed for a long time. Think of global consulting firms or massive enterprise providers. But it was Palantir, nearly 2 decades ago, that truly popularized the specific title and concept of the forward-deployed engineer. And there's a reason they needed this. Palantir was dealing with incredibly complex, highly classified government and enterprise data. In those environments, a failed software deployment didn't just mean a lost contract, it meant catastrophic operational failure. Success was literally the only option, which required engineers in the trenches. Today, we're seeing this exact model being eagerly adopted by the giants of the modern AI era, like OpenAI and Anthropic, because they're facing their own version of high-stakes, highly complex enterprise deployments.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer level of accountability today. It's a massive shift. Modern FDEs are not measured by simply installing software successfully. If an FDE integrates the newest AI perfectly into a company's systems, but the customer's revenue doesn't increase or their operational costs don't decrease, well, the FDE's failed. They carry ultimate accountability. The stakes are entirely real, and they're tied directly to the financial success of the client.
Section 4. Why AI needs FDEs.
AI introduces adoption hurdles that many organizations severely underestimate. To actually integrate AI, you have to redesign entire workflows that people are comfortable with. You have to integrate complex, outdated systems. You must clean and prepare massive amounts of unstructured, messy data. And perhaps hardest of all, you have to manage human change. Technology alone simply cannot accomplish this. An AI model can't hold a workshop to convince a skeptical, exhausted team to change how they've worked for 10 years. You cannot prompt engineer human stubbornness. That requires empathy, strategy, and a human bridge. It requires the FDE.
Imagine you're OpenAI or Anthropic. You've built some of the most powerful computational models in human history. But if a Fortune 500 company buys a massive enterprise license, gets utterly confused by how to apply it to their specific supply chain, and cancels their subscription 6 months later, you lose. You lose revenue, and you lose market momentum. That is exactly why these major players are heavily investing in customer-facing technical teams. They know that AI won't survive on hype alone. A successful customer isn't one who simply buys an AI subscription. A successful customer is one who successfully uses AI to transform their business.
Let's see how this builds, because all of this operational heavy lifting triggers what we call the FDE flywheel. It's the self-reinforcing cycle of incredible momentum. When FDEs roll up their sleeves, help customers redesign processes, and drive actual adoption, step 1 happens. The customer achieves tangible ROI. Because the executive team sees that clear ROI, step 2 kicks in. The customer confidently expands their usage of the technology across other departments. And as usage expands, step 3 follows. The AI platform itself grows, gathering more data, generating more revenue, and funding even better capabilities. It's a powerful loop where the vendor and the customer are totally aligned.
Section 5. From products to outcomes. For years, the enterprise software market was focused solely on delivering products. Customers would look at a vendor and ask the old question, can your technology do this specific feature? But today, that question is virtually dead. Customers are demanding outcomes. Now, they sit across the table and ask the new question, can your technology help us achieve this concrete business result? They don't want to buy software anymore. They want to buy a solution to their operational headaches. Forward-deployed engineers are the human embodiment of this massive industry-wide shift.
As AI becomes embedded across literally every business function, the importance of these engineers is only going to skyrocket. And here's why. Foundational AI models are rapidly becoming commodities. Soon, every company will have access to the exact same raw reasoning power. The companies that win in this era will not necessarily be the ones with the most advanced mathematical models hidden behind closed doors. No, the real, defensible competitive advantage will belong to the organizations that can operationalize that AI at scale. Winning means flawless execution. It means helping customers actually apply the technology successfully in the real world, better and faster than anyone else.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final point. Ultimately, forward-deployed engineers aren't an IT support team. They don't just deploy technology, they deploy results. Which leaves us with a critical question to consider as you look at your own organization's AI strategy today. Are you just buying the newest technology, or do you have a dedicated plan to actually deploy results? Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and keep focusing on those outcomes.